Hey, Lincoln High School. Hello, this is Mr. Malaki here, one of the counselors on the Lynx Counseling Crew. I wanted to get you all some information, get us ready for the 2022-2023 school year. We're going to be registering for classes in this upcoming mentorship lessons. This is going to be a heavy lift from everyone in our community, making sure that you're operating from all the same information. We're going to give you a lot of information, and so we're hoping that you just give your full focus during this time, making sure that you're taking in as much as you can. If there's any information that you feel like you're missing, ask your teacher, or you can also go up to the Schoology page or your counselor's Schoology page, and this presentation will be there waiting for you to refer back to answer all the questions you have about registering for classes for next school year. All right? Well, with that being said, let's get started, Lincoln. All right, here are members of your Lincoln Lynx Counseling Crew. We have Miss Donato working with students starting with the last names of A through EH. And our newest member, super excited to have him on board, Mr. Lim. Welcome, Mr. Lim, working with students with the last names of EI through KN. And these are the same students that were working with Miss Page in the beginning of the school year, but now you are lucky enough to be working with Mr. Lim. He's awesome. And then there's me, working with students last names starting with KO through RA. And our fearless captain, Miss Pacampra, working with students last names RE through Z. All right, we just want to take a moment to just share with you all what our timeline is in regard to registration. It's going to be today and tomorrow, February 3rd and 4th, and then we're also going to be finalizing registration next week, Thursday and Friday, February 10th and February 11th. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reviewing graduation requirements. Tomorrow, we're going to be completing a credit tracking worksheet, and we're also going to be exploring the course catalog. On February 10th and 11th, you're going to be finalizing your registration, and it's a 3-part registration process. We're going to review this in the presentation, but as a sort of preview, it's a 3-part process. One part is you're going to select the classes on the source. You're going to be filling out a paper form of the classes you're selecting, and then you're also going to be going on Naviance and completing the course planner exit ticket. And then our last bullet point shares that all registration, all classes will be selected by February 11th. Otherwise, your counselor will select your classes for you. And your classes will be, if that is the case, if a counselor has to select your courses, it's going to align with your graduation plan, making sure that all students graduate in the springtime of their senior year. All right, well, some of you, after today's lesson, you guys might still have some questions, and some of you have already reached out. You've tried to get a hold of your counselor to say like, hey, is this the next course I should be taking? And you're noticing like, whoa, I can't make an appointment with my counselor in the way that I normally do through Schoology. Just know that counselors are unavailable right now to meet with the 300 students we have from now until February 11th. We're unable to meet with everybody. And so what we're going to do is we're going to ask that you meet with us, get your questions answered in a few different ways, all right? Next week, February 11th through the 7th through the 11th, counselors are going to be out in the Commons at lunchtime. Come on out, talk to your counselor, ask those questions about the courses you plan on taking, and then we can kind of give you some insight on whether or not that's a good idea or not, things like that. Also, ask questions of your teachers, your content area teachers. If you have a question about math, what course next to take, ask your math teacher. Science, ask your science teacher. If you got a question about what course you should be taking in ELA, ask your ELA teacher, all right? You can go there. They are great resources. One of the other things that we expect all of our students to do is to read the course catalog. A lot of great information there in regards to the prerequisites for each course descriptions, how much time one is expected to spend on homework for each course. Super important to understand before you select that course. And if you have questions still, and you're kind of like, I still need my questions answered. After the 11th, we're gonna put our booking tool back up in our Schoology page, and you're welcome to book an appointment with us. And we will then walk through your course selections and to make sure that you've selected the correct course. And then, and lastly, if you are a student that you forget to fill out your course registration, just know that your counselor is going to select the courses for you, and we'll make sure that your courses that we select are aligned with your graduation plan, making sure that everybody graduates springtime of their senior year. Okay?
Hello, Lynx. I'm Ms. Pacumpra, and we are going to jump into the step 1 of our registration process, which is understanding our graduation requirements. So today we're going to talk about what you have already taken that meet graduation requirements and start thinking about how you will think through the rest of your time at Lincoln and what you'll take to graduate to meet the rest of your requirements. So today you have 2 tools. You have your transcript. If you are a 10th and 11th grader, you have a transcript. It does not have your first semester grades on it from this year. It will have the final grades from your second semester of last year on it. You're going to use that, and you're also going to use the credit tracking worksheet. That should be in front of you. That is a tool for you to use. You're going to fill it out, you're going to scratch it up. I would suggest you use pencil, and you're going to use that with your transcript to fill out what your classes that you've taken, what category they fall into, and that is going to start to shape what you might need as you're moving into choosing classes for next year. If you are a 9th grader, you don't have your transcript, and that's okay. You'll get one later this year. But what you do have is access to the source, and the source will have tons of information that's going to help you fill out this credit tracking worksheet as well. It has your current schedule, which has the classes that you're in right now, and in the section in the source called historical grades, it's also going to have a list of the classes that you took last semester and how those fall in line as well. And when we go over how to read a transcript, much of what we talk about in that section applies to you as 9th graders. But I think that it'll still be pretty straightforward. And if you have questions about it, please remember that this is a worksheet. This is not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. And as we move through this course selection process, the other thing to keep in mind, 9th graders, is that anything that you sign up for next year counts towards graduation. 9th and 10th grade is a pretty nice place to be because you're going to be taking lots of classes in lots of different categories, and every single class counts toward graduation in some way. As you're moving into 11th and 12th grade, you've got to be a little bit more careful. So to recap, you have a transcript. If you're a 10th or 11th grader, you have a credit tracking worksheet. If you are a 9th grader, you're going to use the source and you're going to use your credit tracking worksheet, and we're going to work on that today and tomorrow so that when we move into next week, we know exactly what we need to graduate. So in order to get ready to choose your courses for next year, we're going to spend a little bit of time on this slide thinking and learning about credit requirements for graduation. And if I were you, students, I would take a photo of this slide because it's one that you're going to keep going back to over and over. It also exists in the course catalog, and you'll be able to find a PDF of this whole presentation in your counseling Schoology if you ever need to look back at any of the information. So we're just going to dive in, and I'm going to go in depth into what each of these categories mean. And then later on in this presentation, we'll look at how to meet these credit requirements at Lincoln specifically. Okay, let's get started. You will take 4 credits of English, starting on the left, that dark yellow, those dark yellow blocks. What this means is that you will take English every single year, so that's pretty easy. You'll also take 3 credits of science, and that's typically done with a specific sequence in Seattle Public Schools. It can also be met in a couple of other different ways, but specifically you'll take 3 credits in your 9th, 10th, and 11th grade year. Same with math. You'll take 3 credits of math, and that's also done specifically in SPS with Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. Anything above that, so if you're an 11th grader and you're going to take science and math next year, that's great. Those classes can then become a different category, and we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Social studies is 3 credits, and there is a specific pathway that's done in SPS for that as well. And right now, we don't have any social studies electives, so the social studies path is laid out pretty clearly, and we'll talk about those specific courses in a couple minutes. Health and fitness is where we get a lot of questions, and so I'm going to do my best to explain this in a way that hopefully clears up any confusion. You need 2 credits in this health and fitness category, but that is broken down specifically. You need 1.5 credits of fitness or of PE, so that's 3 semesters of PE and 1 semester of health. You can take those anytime you want to. So if you want to take 3 PE classes in a school year, you can do that. If you want to wait, spread them out, take 1 your 9th grade year and then 2 your 12th grade year, you can do that too. Health is typically something that students take 9th grade, but if you miss it and you aren't able to take it, you can take it anytime. You can take it in 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. We're going to spend a little bit of time on the next, talking about PE waivers in a couple of minutes, but I will say that there is a way to waive up to 1.0 credit of the PE requirement. 0.5 or 1 semester is required in the school building. So there is a way to do that, and we will talk about that in a couple of minutes. Now, art credit, you need 1 credit of art. This can be fine art, visual art, performing art, and there's a lot of ways that you can meet this requirement at Lincoln. So we don't even have a whole lot of time to spend on the different ways you can take art. This is what the course catalog is for, and this is where I will strongly advise you to spend a lot of time looking through the art classes and to see what might interest you and how you might meet this requirement. Same with CTE, or Career Technical Education. Career Technical Education is basically a category of classes that can be related to a future job or career. At Lincoln, we have loads of CTE classes, and we offer them, new ones all the time. So take a look in the course catalog, spend some time reading about new classes. I'm really excited about some of them. And then, figure out how you might want to finish off that credit requirement. One note about art and CTE, there are some classes that can count towards either one, and there's actually a page in the course catalog that talks about arts classes that can be counted towards CTE, or CTE classes that can be counted towards art. Typically, you have to meet that first credit requirement before you can apply it to the next. So for example, graphic design is a CTE class. You can count it as art, but you have to meet the CTE graduate requirement first. So you have to meet that 1 credit, and then you can make graphic design count towards art. And hopefully that's not too confusing. Okay, moving into electives and personalized pathway. You need 4 credits of electives to graduate, but I'm going to tell you right now that if you're taking 24 credits, you will inevitably take enough electives. You'll probably end up even getting more. I like to tell students that you often will meet your elective requirement on accident. It's really not something that you need to plan for, so please, please, please don't stress about that. One way to think about electives is to think about each of these yellow categories as buckets, and once that bucket overflows, whatever is overflowing flows into the elective bucket. So if you take a 4th credit of science or a 4th credit of math, that can become an elective. Same with art or CTE. If you wanted to take 5 or 6 PE classes, those become electives. So that's totally up to you and up to your specific plan and your things you're interested in and how this works out. The personalized pathway piece is a little bit more detailed. It's a little bit more specific. We're going to also define this in the next slide, but the personalized pathway is basically 3 credits that count towards your future plans. And it is that general. It is that vague. So sometimes that can feel really stressful. You're like, what? I need more. I need to be told exactly what it is. Well, exactly what it is going to depend on exactly who you are. So thinking about your future plans, that could easily be the classes that you're going to take just to be eligible to apply to a 4-year college. It could be the classes that you're going to take because you're going to get a really cool apprenticeship, and so you need to learn how computers work, and so you're taking a bunch of CTE classes about computer science. I mean, it really is specific to you. And the other thing that I would say is that the vast majority of students will most likely meet part of this pathway with world language, because most of our students will take world language. And I think an important thing to distinguish in the conversation about world language is that it is not a graduation requirement. You do not need world language to graduate. However, most 4-year universities will want you to enter and apply having completed a level 2 or higher at your high school setting. And I'm going to use that language really specifically because it can be really confusing. Even on this slide, it says most 4-year universities require 2 to 3 world language credits. And that's true. But really what they mean is that they want you to be at a level 2 or 3 or higher. If you are coming in as a heritage speaker, and so you're a 9th grader in Spanish 3, you don't need to take any more world language in order to be eligible to apply to most colleges, because you are at that level 3. If you are coming from the DLI program in the same category of, you're a 9th grader in maybe Spanish 3 or Japanese 3, you could potentially be done. You don't need to take any more. And I think there is a lot of confusion around, well, gosh, I'm going to have to take all the way through AP Spanish. You should if you can. Highly recommend it. They're great classes, but it is not required. What is required, I'll say it one more time, is that you are at a level 2 or 3 or higher in order to apply to most 4-year colleges and universities. There are a couple of other graduation requirements that were not mentioned that are not credit related, and we will talk about those at a future time. I don't want you to worry too much about those, but that also includes service learning hours and Washington State history. Don't worry about those for now, and we'll talk about those in a different time with counselors. This is a presentation that is mostly looking at credits and how to graduate on time. And how to plan for that. So hopefully that cleared up any confusion, and we'll move on to talking a little bit more deeply about the personalized pathway. Now, obviously this is a little bit of a review. I just went into this, but I wanted to also show you that in writing what your personal pathway is. And again, your personal pathway in a nutshell is 3 credits that are relevant to your personal plans for after high school. So this could be world language, this could be a 4th year of science, math, social studies. This could also be a random assortment of electives that are related to your future plans. This is not something that needs to be stressful. Your counselor has your back. I've got your back. We'll support you, and we can't wait to figure this out with you.
Hey Lynx, this is Counselor Hope Donato. I'm going to go over core sequence. I'm going to try to be really quick here so you all can really focus in. You have a great opportunity that you have teachers that you can ask questions to. So you can always ask in your language arts classes, what are the options for you next year? You can see them, they're all laid out right here for English language and for social studies. Now jumping into math, you have a few more options. So you want to follow our Seattle Public Schools sequence of doing Algebra 1, Geometry, and then Algebra 2. And then that's where you have a lot more choice of what you can do next. Again, talk to your math teacher if you're not sure what you want to do. Science. I'm going to say the same thing again. Please talk to your science teachers. They're going to be the best folks at asking any questions, but This is a great slide that you can come back to again and again and look at your course options, what you can take next year. It's going to depend on what you're currently taking. So we have our sequence at the top, and then you can look at what options you can take after you finish that sequence. Electives is where you have a lot more choice and a lot more offerings. So really, I want you to take the time and go through your course catalog and just see what options there are. There might be things that you never even thought that we would offer that we totally do offer. So please check it out. Read through everything, all of our PE offerings, all of our CTE offerings, everything for our world languages are all listed here. But please check it all out. We have a lot of great things coming out this year.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Donato. Wanted to cover, this is Mr. Malaki again. Some of the most popular questions we have in the counseling office is students wanted to know more about Running Start and PE waivers. Now for Running Start, it's a program for students to enroll in a local community college as a part-time or full-time student, and the courses they take count for high school graduation. And if you want more information about Running Start, you can go to the Lincoln High School website under counseling, and you'll find a great presentation on the right-hand side that says Running Start. All right, and we're also going to be sharing out a presentation to current 10th and 11th graders in the springtime about Running Start. Now you might be wondering, am I eligible for a PE waiver? All students are required to take at least 0.5 credit or 1 semester of PE in Lincoln at some point in their high school career. The remaining 1.0 credit may be waived. If you need a PE waiver, please come to the counseling office. And then here's another note. Students who take 6 full-year courses for all 4 years may be eligible to waive the required 1.5 credit. And if you feel like this is you, where you've taken 6 full-year classes for all, or you're planning to do it for all 4 years of high school, please connect with your counselor to get more information about this. Okay, Lincoln, we have given you so much information. We just want to take a moment to just pause and let's just breathe. All right, everybody, inhale through your nose. Exhale. You're gonna be all right. All right. Now here's Mr. Lim. He's going to talk to you about how to understand a high school transcript.
Hey all, it's Mr. Lim, and I'm going to be talking you through how to read your transcript. And for some of you, this might be maybe the first time you take a look at it. So the first thing you'll see at the top of your transcript is identifying information. You'll see your information on the left-hand side. You'll notice the GPA grading rubric scale there in the middle. And on the right, you'll see your school and district information. All of this is just to verify that it is your transcript. So make sure all of the information matches and it says your name at the top. Your transcript displays a whole lot of information, and sometimes you may not know what that means. So what we've done is highlighted the important things you should know. You'll see on the SPS course code towards the left-hand side, the 2 letters there indicate what type of class you took. The transcript key, again on the left-hand side, tells you what the letters mean and what the classes were. Transcripts read in chronological order from your 9th grade year going on into your 12th grade year, from top to bottom. And so you should see the semester that you took the course, what course it was. You'll also see the letter grade that you earned and the amount of credit that you earned from that class. Towards the end of your transcript, you'll see the grade point average breakdown. You may be wondering what's a GPA, and it's the number that represents your average grade earned either over the semester or your cumulative GPA. So you'll see the semester GPA there on the right-hand side, and at the bottom, the cumulative is the average of every semester that you've taken so far in your high school career and averaged out. Now that you have an idea of how to read your transcript, you'll be using it to fill out a credit tracking worksheet. The tracking tool helps you to see what classes you've already taken and plan for what classes you need to take in order to eventually graduate. You'll have today and tomorrow in mentorship class to work on this. We included a tip there at the bottom. If you notice that you have more than enough credits in one area, such as CTE or art, you can use the extra classes you've taken to possibly fulfill a different category. Check in the course catalog. If you have questions, you're stuck, you're needing some help, please be sure to ask your teacher, because we want to make sure that you are filling out these worksheets correctly.
Okay, we're gonna just really quickly go over the timeline for course selection and for registering for next year's courses. Today we learned about grad requirements. Today you got your credit tracking worksheet. You're gonna start working on that right now. Tomorrow you're gonna keep working on that. You're also gonna access the course catalog, and you're gonna start looking at the courses that are gonna be offered for next year. You're gonna get a course selection sheet in mentorship tomorrow. That is your paper form that you will hand in to your mentorship teacher next Friday, February 11th, and that's part of your course selection process, is to turn in that sheet. So you'll get that sheet tomorrow, and then tomorrow is also the beginning of starting course selection, and you have an entire week to think it through. So one thing that happens a lot is students want to sit down with their counselor individually and meet, but there's about 1,400 of you, and we just aren't free to meet with all of you for a week. But we are going to be available for walk-up questions at lunch next week, February 7th through 11th. So be thinking about it with your, families, talk about it over the weekend, talk about it next week. Bring your questions to walk up at lunch, and we'll be there to answer them. Also, if you have questions that are related to a specific subject, like, hey, I wonder what they're going to teach in biology next year. Well, ask your current science teacher, because they're going to have that information for you. So those are going to be two ways you're going to get a lot of your questions answered. Next Thursday and Friday, we're finishing course registration. We're going to be turning that in on Friday. You're also going to be registering online in the source, so you're going to complete that and submit that information. And then thirdly, you're going to be submitting an exit ticket for the course planner task in Naviance. Those three components mean that you're done with course registration. We're really excited. We can't wait to support you. This is a really exciting time of year. And hopefully we'll see you next week at lunch with all of your questions.
All right, Lincoln, we made it to the whole presentation. Thank you so much for giving this this video the attention it needs from you. And again, if you have more questions, remember we're going to be out in the lunchtime at the Commons. As a refresher, here are your counselors. We're going to be out there February 7th through 11th. That's next week. Feel free to reach out to us. We want to help you out. This could feel stressful. Not to worry. We're going to put your mind at ease. We're going to set you on the right path. It's going to be all right. Okay? Until then, mahalo. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.